Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really powerful but honestly often misunderstood commercial process. We're talking about conditional tender, accounting discrepancies, and exactly what happens when institutions fail to provide proper verification. Now, this isn't about avoiding payment, no way. It's a structured framework all about ensuring accuracy, accountability, and lawful performance. There is a single sentence that perfectly captures the entire essence of what we're looking at today. I am ready, willing, and able to pay once the obligation is verified. That right there is the core of this disciplined framework for managing payment disputes. It is absolutely not an excuse to dodge what you owe. Rather, it's a legally grounded demand for accuracy before a transaction actually completes. So here's our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to cover 1. Conditional tender. 2. The accounting integrity issue. 3. Escrow and fiduciary protection. 4. Progressive compliance and assurance. And finally, 5. Arbitration and cost recovery. We'll walk you step by step from that very first accounting discrepancy all the way to an audit-ready arbitration resolution.
All right, Section 1, Conditional Tender, the baseline of controlled performance. Let's start right at the foundation and define exactly what it means to legally condition a payment.
Under the Uniform Commercial Code, specifically principles like UCC Section 3603, tendering a payment can actually be legally paused. Why? Well, to protect you against overpayment or misapplied funds. The money is sitting there ready to go, but the actual transfer halts until the numbers are verifiably accurate. It's basically a legal pause button.
And there is a massive contrast here that we really need to understand. This framework is not some hostile refusal to pay tactic. It's a disciplined, good faith position of controlled performance. You're simply demanding an immutable audit trail before cash changes hands. You're just establishing a baseline of truth.
Moving right along to Section 2, the accounting integrity issue, or what happens when verification completely fails. Let's look at what actually triggers this protective mechanism in the real world.
The trigger usually starts with some glaring warning signs. We're talking inconsistent payoff amounts, suddenly appearing administrative fees, or statements that completely lack a defensible audit trail. When you get these, that underlying obligation becomes legally unreliable. Under basic financial principles, numbers absolutely must be verifiable. If they aren't, you've got a serious accounting integrity issue on your hands.
And the crucial takeaway here is that when the basic foundation of a verifiable amount owed goes missing, the very purpose of the contract is frustrated. This actually ties back to a legal doctrine called frustration of purpose. You might remember it from the classic Krell v. Henry case. When the foundation of an agreement fails, your performance can be lawfully paused so you can request a correction.
Think of it like this. Just like a computer program completely freezing up because of bad code, the system treats a lack of accounting transparency as a strict syntax error. It automatically halts the transaction to prevent any structural damage to the ledger. Okay, Section 3, Escrow and Fiduciary Protection. Let's see how this builds into an actual physical safeguard for the funds. Because if you pause payment, you still have to prove you actually have the money. This is where the 4-account paradigm comes in. Instead of just refusing to pay and holding the cash, the funds are safely swept into an isolated LexNode trust account. They are fully reserved, held strictly under fiduciary control, and completely separated from your operational capital. This happens through the SEEP protocol, or Special Event Escrow and Payment. By sweeping those funds into a specialized dispute and escheated funds escrow bucket, you are physically proving your absolute ability to pay. At the same time, you're preventing any misuse of those funds. It's the ultimate proof that your intent is in good faith. This rigid, mechanical workflow where you detect the disputed funds, sweep them to a shadow reserve, securely escrow them with tracking, and only release them upon an arbitration award is brilliant. It shows any regulator or any arbitrator that the money is secure, segregated, and ready to deploy the very second that obligation is verified. All right, on to Section 4, Progressive Compliance, also known as the 3-strike rule. This is where we examine exactly how the system forces accountability and resolves that syntax error we just talked about. Now, it is absolutely vital to understand this next point. We are not talking about enforcing arbitrary penalty fees or throwing around threats. That is simply not how professionals handle commercial disputes. What we are doing is establishing a legally defensible recovery of documented administrative costs. That is what arbitrators respect, and it's what courts accept. This step-by-step escalation is exactly how you prove your good faith. Strike 1, you identify the discrepancy and send a notice. Strike 2, you escalate, formally requesting assurance and records. Strike 3, If they fail to cure the issue, you prepare for arbitration. It meticulously documents that you exhausted every possible option to clarify the accounting before you ever sought a formal remedy.
To support your claims during this whole three-strike process, you rely on the Economic Value Record, or EVR. This structured digital container acts as your proof and measurement layer. It takes a messy, potentially emotional dispute and turns it into a highly standardized, evidence-backed record. But keep in mind, an EVR isn't just an automatic blank check. It has to pass through the allowance gate. This gate acts as the ultimate integrity switch. It guarantees that no phantom assets are ever created on the balance sheet without a human fiduciary explicitly reviewing the immutable evidence first. Finally, Section 5, Arbitration and Cost Recovery. Let's break down exactly what happens when the three-strike rule concludes without a fix and a formal resolution becomes necessary. The system actually does the heavy lifting for you by automatically compiling an arbitration pack. This gives the arbitrator a perfectly organized, time-stamped history. It includes the notice log, causation narrative, your mitigation proof, the evaluation method, and your requested remedy, basically documenting the other party's delay and your resulting administrative burden.
And once that arbitration award is legally finalized, the smart contract logic steps in to handle the execution. The multi-sig authorization takes the verified award and seamlessly executes the final settlement right from that segregated escrow account we secured earlier. This strict safe state machine guarantees that a measured economic impact never, ever becomes a booked receivable until it is fully authorized and legally allowed. It ensures total compliance with strict accounting standards. No accounting arbitrage here, just transparent, bounded reality.
Ultimately, this highly structured commercial framework shifts the burden of proof entirely back to the institution demanding the payment. You're arriving at arbitration with a tripartite proof: unwavering intent to perform, verifiable availability of funds, and an absolute requirement for accuracy before payment. You are proving your position is the one grounded in verifiable commercial law.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. In an era where institutional algorithms can forcibly liquidate accounts, isn't a structured, immutable ledger of verifiable truth the only real cure for poor accounting? This isn't about avoiding your obligations. It is about ensuring that every single transaction is accurate, verifiable, and lawfully enforced in our increasingly volatile digital economy.